Did you know the flight that changed our world lasted just 12 seconds? Shorter than a modern jet's wingspan? In that brief moment, history pivoted, and the impossible became possible. It's hard to imagine now, but before that day, the dream of human flight was little more than a fantasy, a story told in myths and sketches. On a cold December morning in 1903, two brothers from Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright, launched their homemade machine at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The wind whipped across the dunes as they prepared for a moment that would echo through time. With no formal education or wealthy backers, they built the Wright Flyer from wood, fabric, and wire, powered by a 12-horsepower engine they designed themselves. Every piece was handcrafted, every bolt and stitch a testament to their ingenuity and persistence. Their success was the result of years of relentless research and over 1,000 tests. They crashed, rebuilt, and tried again, learning from each failure and never losing sight of their vision. Before that day, oceans and continents were vast, uncrossable barriers for most people. Crossing the Atlantic meant weeks at sea and the world felt impossibly large. The idea of flight was dismissed as fantasy, and many experts believed it impossible. Newspapers scoffed, and even scientists doubted that a heavier-than-air machine could ever leave the ground. But the Wrights, methodical and determined, solved the puzzle of controlled flight, lift, power, and, most importantly, control. They invented new systems to steer and balance their craft, laying the foundation for all future aviation. Their 12-second journey proved it could be done, opening the door to a future no one could have imagined. In that instant, the world's boundaries began to shrink. The flyer lurched into the air, flew 120 feet, and landed with a gentle thud, witnessed only by a handful of local surfmen. For those few seconds, gravity was defied, and a new era was born. John T. Daniels, one of them, nearly missed the iconic photo, stunned by what he saw. He had never operated a camera before, but he captured a moment that would change the world. That single image captured the instant the modern age began. It became a symbol of human ingenuity and the courage to dream beyond the horizon, a quiet, humble start to a revolution that would shrink the globe and redefine what was possible. From that windswept beach, the world would never be the same again. Who were these men? Not scientists or industrialists, but bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio. Wilbur and Orville Wright's daily work with bicycles taught them about lightweight structures, balance, and mechanical problem-solving. Their fascination with flight began as boys, inspired by a toy helicopter from their father. They devoured everything about aviation, learning from pioneers like Otto Lilienthal and Octave Chanute. When Lilienthal died in a crash, it only fueled their determination. Wilbur was the visionary, Orville, the tinkerer. Their partnership was their secret weapon. They debated, challenged, and refined each other's ideas, working in perfect synergy. Every dollar from their bicycle shop funded their experiments. They weren't chasing fame, just the thrill of solving the impossible. Their key insight flight was about control, not brute force, just like balancing a bicycle. This simple, practical wisdom set them apart from all who came before. The Wrights' journey began not with engines, but with a simple kite, an experiment that would quietly spark a revolution in human flight. In 1899, Wilbur built a biplane kite to test his radical idea for controlling flight. Wing warping, inspired by the way birds twist their wings to steer and balance in the air. This was a bold step, as no one had ever tried to control a flying machine in this way before. The kite's success gave them confidence to move forward, leading to the construction of full-sized gliders. They chose the remote, windy and sandy dunes of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina for their experiments, seeking the perfect conditions for flight. Their first glider in 1900, however, was a disappointment. It produced far less lift than they had calculated, and the brothers were left puzzled and frustrated. Undeterred by failure, they built a larger glider in 1901, hoping for better results. But this new machine was unstable and difficult to control, making flight even more challenging. On the long train ride home, Wilbur was filled with doubt, even wondering if man would ever fly. Perhaps not for 1,000 years, he thought. But instead of giving up, the brothers made a critical decision. They would generate their own data, questioning everything that had come before. They realized the accepted scientific tables and charts were flawed, and that the answers they sought would have to be discovered through their own experiments. The brothers became true scientists, systematically testing and measuring aerodynamics themselves, building their own wind tunnel to gather accurate data. Their failures didn't break them. Instead, Each setback revealed new insights and showed the way forward, fueling their determination. The challenge was greater than ever, but so was their resolve. Every obstacle became a lesson, every disappointment a reason to try again. They were no longer just building a flying machine. They were rewriting the textbook of flight, laying the foundation for modern aviation. The real breakthrough was yet to come, but the Wright brothers had already taken the most important steps, turning failure into discovery and dreams into determination. Kitty Hawk became the Wrights' outdoor laboratory for 3 autumns. Life was harsh. Primitive living, relentless winds, and sand everywhere. But the isolation gave them privacy to experiment, fail, and learn without scrutiny. The steady Atlantic winds and soft dunes were perfect for testing gliders and learning to fly. Each crash was a lesson, not a disaster. They meticulously recorded every test: wind speed, wing angle, distance, duration. Evenings were spent analyzing data and planning the next day's experiments. The local life-saving crew became their ground team and witnesses. These men, once skeptical, grew to admire the brothers' persistence and method. Their presence would later help prove the Wrights' achievements to the world. After disappointing glider tests, the Wrights realized the accepted aerodynamic data was flawed. They built one of the world's first wind tunnels in their Dayton shop. Using miniature wings and a clever balance system, they measured lift and drag with precision. They tested over 200 wing shapes, discovering that long, narrow wings were far more efficient. Their data proved the old tables wrong and gave them the knowledge to design a truly flyable machine. The 1902 glider, based on their wind tunnel results, featured a movable rear rudder linked to wing warping, solving pitch, roll, and yaw. Back at Kitty Hawk, the new glider performed brilliantly, making nearly 1,000 successful flights. They had finally solved the problem of controlled flight. All that remained was to add an engine. Their methodical scientific approach had paid off. The age of flight was within reach. The next challenge powered flight. With control mastered, the Wrights needed a lightweight, powerful engine. No manufacturer could meet their specs, so they built one themselves with mechanic Charlie Taylor. Their homemade 4-cylinder engine produced 12 horsepower and weighed just 180 pounds. The other challenged propellers. No one had the science, so the Wrights invented it. They realized propellers were rotating wings and designed their own, achieving remarkable efficiency. By autumn 1903, the Wright Flyer was ready. Engine, propellers, airframe, and controls all working in harmony. The propellers were chain-driven, a direct link to their bicycle expertise. Every part was designed to work together, not just assembled. They had built the world's first true airplane from the ground up. Ingenuity, persistence, and hands-on skill had solved every problem. Now, it was time to fly. December 17, 1903. Cold, windy, and far from ideal, but the Wrights were ready. After a failed attempt days earlier, they set up their launching rail on the sand. Orville took his turn at the controls, lying prone on the lower wing. At 10:35 a.m., he released the restraining wire. The flyer rolled down the rail, lifted off, and wobbled into the air. For 12 seconds, Orville fought the wind, flying 120 feet before landing. It wasn't graceful, but it was real, powered flight. The small group of witnesses cheered. The impossible had happened. The brothers made 3 more flights that morning, each longer and more controlled. Wilbur's final flight covered 852 feet in 59 seconds. The flyer was damaged by a gust of wind after landing, ending their season. But the mission was accomplished. The age of flight had begun. The world would never be the same. The Wrights had done it. The Wrights sent a telegram home. Success 4 flights Thursday morning. But the world barely noticed. Newspapers buried the story, and most people were skeptical. For years, the brothers refined their flyer in obscurity, mastering turns and longer flights at Huffman Prairie. By 1905, they had a practical airplane, but the U.S. military and public remained unconvinced. The Wrights kept their secrets, waiting for a contract and patent protection. Doubt persisted, especially in Europe. In 1908, Wilbur wowed skeptical crowds in France with public demonstrations. The press hailed him as a hero. The world finally believed. Orville did the same in the U.S. for the Army. The era of doubt was over. The Wrights were recognized as the fathers of aviation. The legacy of that 12-second flight is everywhere, in the jets above us, streaking across the sky, connecting cities, countries, and people in ways that were once unimaginable. It lives on in the global web of air travel, a vast network that links every corner of the planet, making the world feel smaller and more accessible than ever before. It has transformed our very sense of distance, turning what was once a daunting journey into a matter of hours, and bringing distant horizons within reach for millions. The Wrights didn't just invent the airplane. They unlocked the third dimension for humanity, giving us the freedom to soar above the Earth and see our world from a new perspective. Their wind tunnel work set a new standard for scientific problem-solving, showing how to theorize, experiment, and learn from failure. They built, tested, and refined their ideas, embracing an iterative process that would become the backbone of modern engineering and invention. This method is now the foundation of innovation in every field, from medicine to technology, inspiring generations of problem solvers. Their story is a testament to perseverance, curiosity, and collaboration, qualities that drive progress and shape the future. With no formal credentials or advanced degrees, they succeeded through intellect, relentless determination, and a willingness to challenge the impossible. They faced skepticism, setbacks, and repeated failure, but never gave up on their vision or their dream. Their journey proves that breakthroughs can come from anywhere, driven by passion, creativity, and the courage to keep going, not privilege or pedigree. Today, we cross continents in hours, a dream made real by two bicycle mechanics who dared to believe flight was possible. The 12 seconds at Kitty Hawk began a new age, shrinking the world, expanding what's possible, and inspiring generations to reach for the skies. The Wright brothers' flight was more than a technical feat. It was a turning point in human history, a moment that forever changed how we live, connect, and dream.